True fans live for their team. For those true U of A fans, there is Hughes Federal Credit Union. Show your U of A spirit and put technology and convenience at your fingertips. Hughes Federal Credit Union. Smart choice.
Welcome to Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by Hughes Federal Credit Union. I'm Star Sports Editor Ryan Finley, here with Greg Hansen. Greg, it's my favorite time of year to talk to you. Arizona plays ASU, and my goodness, you can go back through the years. This is a rivalry that has been marked by hatred, been marked by crazy plays, unlikely heroes, on down the line. Everything you want to ascribe to a great rivalry, you can ascribe to this game. Take me through a couple of your favorite moments.
One of the best, and it's probably the worst in Tucson, was when Jake Plummer finally beat Arizona in 1996 here. I think it was 56-14. They have an interview room under the stadium where Dick Tomey was in doing his interview, and it's a basement room, you know, and there are a couple windows up there, and some Sun Devil fans got down into that little place and started banging on the window, yelling, and Tomey, it kind of rattled Tomey, and he's a guy that doesn't get rattled.
Right.
They had just taken over the place. And you just don't expect to see that. I remember that real well.
Yeah. People talk about the greatest play in the history of this rivalry, and I think Chuck Cecil's 102-yard interception return probably qualifies. You were there that day, weren't you?
Oh, I saw Joe Drake, who was a nose guard, parading down Speedway with one of the goalposts.
Wow.
At like 4 in the morning. I wasn't there at 4 in the morning, but that was the story.
Yeah.
But they tore down the goalposts in 82 and 86 in Tucson. Wow. And then they've surrounded them with police since then.
Right. Chuck Cecil was a guy, Greg, who even back then was, shall we say, a fiery kind of fellow?
Fiery. After that game, when they knocked ASU out of the Rose Bowl in 1986, a Phoenix columnist asked him, "What do you say to people who say this was an upset?"
Right.
And it wasn't unprintable what he said. And he was still steaming after the game.
Really?
Because Arizona was such an underdog, and no one had appreciated him all year. They won 9 games.
Sure.
But I saw a picture of him last week on Facebook. The Rams, he's a Rams secondary coach. He was in an Arizona Wildcats sweatshirt.
Right. So he knows even 32 years later or whatever it is, just how important this rivalry game is. Greg, let's talk a little bit more about the more recent games. And, you know, I was thinking about this the other day. The heroes from our most recent Arizona ASU games here are guys whose names you probably couldn't pick out of you couldn't pick out of a lineup. I mean, Orlando Vargas, block, punt, scooped, and scored that win.
Do you remember that?
Up there in 2009. You go back to 2011, Bryson Burney comes in for the Arizona Wildcats. Nick Foles is hurt. Burney comes in, throws the game-winning touchdown pass to Jerron Kreiner. That's the same game, I believe, where Shaq Richardson made the best play of his college career, the final play of the game, and then stomped over the guy and caused a big, ruckus. And even last year, you look at somebody like Anthony Lopez. He scooped and scored a fumble, and really, I mean, that's as loud as I've ever heard Arizona Stadium.
You know what you just said. I can tell you almost play-by-play in the 80s and 90s of this series, but the last 5 or 6 years, I can't remember much.
Yeah. Is it just that both teams have been kind of average? I mean, last year's game was great, 2 ranked teams, but that's really been the rarity.
I thought last year's game is probably one of the top 5 in the history of 100 years. I mean, it just had that impact. You said the press box shook.
Yeah.
That had only happened one other time when I'd been there, and that was when Cecil returned the interception.
Wow. It's funny to me when I think about this rivalry, I'm reminded of Mickey Bacchus last year. And you've seen the photo 1,000 times. Kissing the Territorial Cup as he's going back into the locker room to share the trophy with his teammates. He remarked to me after that it was shockingly heavy, that the thing weighs 20 pounds for being about that big. To me, that's what's so interesting here, is this game and this trophy carries some significant weight, both for the winners and for the losers.
Yeah, all the way from the weight of the Territorial Cup to tearing down those goalposts is 2 years. It's just such a weighted day.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get up there.
Absolutely. And when you get up there, I mean, even we know, and we're just media types. You walk in, there's an electricity and a crackle to the stadium that you don't feel any other day of the year.
Oh, yeah, it's just, I remember the 1987 game in Tempe. Arizona tied it when the punter from ASU dropped the snap with like 5 seconds to go. Arizona got the tying field goal at the buzzer. And afterward, I remember Dick Tomey and Cedric Dempsey just embracing like they had won the Super Bowl. It was a tie. That's what it means.
Absolutely. Big game Saturday, 1:30 Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe. The 6-5 Arizona Wildcats going up against the 5-5 ASU Sun Devils. Again, a game that might not register nationally this year, but will certainly be the biggest game of both teams' seasons. And that'll do it for this episode of Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by Hughes Federal Credit Union. For Greg Hansen, I'm Ryan Finley. We'll see you next time.
True fans live for their team. They buy the gear, they order the tickets, they pay for the seats and the experiences. For those true U of A fans, thankfully there is Hughes Federal Credit Union, offering the latest payment choices such as U of A debit cards, paying online, paying a friend with pop money, or using Apple Pay with your mobile phone. Show your U of A spirit and put technology and convenience at your fingertips. Hughes Federal Credit Union. Smart choice.